Rooster and the Pearl by Aesop. A cock was once strutting up and down the farmyard among the hens when suddenly he espied something shining amid the straw. "Ho, ho," quoth he, "that's for me," and soon rooted it out from beneath the straw. What did it turn out to be but a pearl that by some chance had been lost in the yard? "You may be a treasure," quoth Master Cock, "to men that prize you, but for me I would rather have a single barley corn than a peck of pearls. Precious things are for those that can prize them." The Raven and the Swan by Aesop. A raven saw a swan and desired to secure for himself the same beautiful plumage. Supposing that the swan's splendid white color arose from his washing in the water in which he swam, the raven left the altars in the neighborhood where he picked up his living and took up residence in the lakes and pools. But cleansing his feathers as often as he would, he could not change their color, while through want of food he perished. Change of habit cannot alter nature. The Salt Merchant and His Donkey by Aesop. A peddler drove his donkey to the seashore to buy salt. His road home lay across a stream into which his donkey, making a false step, fell by accident and rose up again with his load considerably lighter as the water melted the sack. The peddler retraced his steps and refilled his panniers with a larger quantity of salt than before. When he came again to the stream, the donkey fell down on purpose in the same spot, and, regaining his feet with the weight of his load much diminished, brayed triumphantly, as if he had obtained what he desired. The peddler saw through his trick, and drove him for the third time to the coast, where he bought a cargo of sponges instead of salt. The donkey, again playing the fool, fell down on purpose when he reached the stream, but the sponges became swollen with water, greatly increasing his load, and thus his trick recoiled on him, for he now carried on his back a double burden. The Serpent and the File by Aesop. A serpent, in the course of its wanderings, came into an armorer's shop. As he glided over the floor, he felt his skin pricked by a file lying there. In a rage he turned round upon it and tried to dart his fangs into it, but he could do no harm to heavy iron, and had soon to give over his wrath. It is useless attacking the insensible. The Sick Lion by Aesop. A lion had come to the end of his days, and lay sick unto death at the mouth of his cave, gasping for breath. The animals, his subjects, came round him and drew nearer as he grew more and more helpless. When they saw him on the point of death, they thought to themselves, "Now is the time to pay off old grudges." So the boar came up and drove at him with his tusks. Then a bull gored him with his horns. Still the lion lay helpless before them. So the ass, feeling quite safe from danger, came up, and turning his tail to the lion, kicked up his heels into his face. "This is a double death," growled the lion. "Only cowards insult dying majesty." The Swallow and the Crow by Aesop. The swallow and the crow had a contention about their plumage. The crow put an end to the dispute by saying, "Your feathers are all very well in the spring, but mine protect me against the winter. Fair weather friends are not worth much." The Swallow and the Other Birds by Aesop. It happened that a countryman was sowing some hemp seeds in a field where a swallow and some other birds were hopping about picking up their food. "Beware of that man," quoth the swallow. "Why, what is he doing?" said the others. "That is hemp seed he is sowing. Be careful to pick up every one of the seeds, or else you will repent it." The birds paid no heed to the swallow's words, and by the hemp grew up and was made into cord, and of the cords nets were made, and many a bird that had despised the swallow's advice was caught in nets made out of that very hemp. "What did I tell you?" said the swallow. "Destroy the seed of evil, or it will grow up to your ruin." The Tortoise and the Eagle by Aesop. A tortoise, lazily basking in the sun, complained to the sea birds of her hard fate, that no one would teach her to fly. An eagle, hovering near, heard her lamentation, and demanded what reward she would give him if he would take her aloft and float her in the air. "I will give you," she said, "all the riches of the Red Sea." "I will teach you to fly, then," said the eagle, and taking her up in his talons, he carried her almost to the clouds. Suddenly he let her go, and she fell on a lofty mountain, dashing her shell to pieces. The tortoise exclaimed in the moment of death, "I have deserved my present fate, for what had I to do with wings and clouds, who can with difficulty move about on the earth? If men had all they wished, they would be often ruined." The Town Mouse and the Country Mouse by Aesop. Now you must know that a town mouse once upon a time went on a visit to his cousin in the country. He was rough and ready, this cousin, but he loved his town friend and made him heartily welcome. Beans and bacon, cheese and bread were all he had to offer, but he offered them freely. The town mouse rather turned up his long nose at this country fare and said, "I cannot understand, cousin, how you can put up with such poor food as this, but of course you cannot expect anything better in the country. Come you with me, and I will show you how to live. When you have been in town a week, you will wonder how you could ever have stood a country life." No sooner said than done. The two mice set off for the town and arrived at the town mouse's residence late at night. "You will want some refreshment after our long journey," said the polite town mouse, and took his friend into the grand dining room. There they found the remains of a fine feast, and soon the two mice were eating up jellies and cakes and all that was nice. Suddenly they heard growling and barking. "What is that?" said the country mouse. "It is only the dogs of the house," answered the other. "Only?" said the country mouse. "I do not like that music at my dinner." Just at that moment the door flew open. In came two huge mastiffs, and the two mice had to scamper down and run off. "Goodbye, cousin," said the country mouse. "What, going so soon?" said the other. "Yes," he replied. "Better beans and bacon in peace than cakes and ale in fear." The Traveler and His Dog by Aesop. A traveler about to set out on a journey saw his dog stand at the door stretching himself. He asked him sharply, "Why do you stand there gaping? Everything is ready but you, so come with me instantly." The dog, wagging his tail, replied, "Oh, master, I am quite ready. It is you for whom I am waiting." The loiterer often blames delay on his more active friend.